The congressional hearing room was filled to capacity, cameras capturing every moment. Nancy Mace, the Republican representative from South Carolina, leaned toward her microphone with a confident smirk, ready to make her point. For the last 2 minutes, she had been mocking Jasmine Crockett, the outspoken Democrat from Texas, calling her all talk, no results, and even implying she was better suited for TikTok than the House floor. The atmosphere crackled with tension. A few Republicans chuckled quietly, while several Democrats shifted uncomfortably. But Jasmine Crockett remained calm, composed, her neatly styled hair gleaming under the harsh lights. She wasn't rattled or defensive, she was strategic. What happened in the next minute wouldn't just silence Nancy Mace, it would go viral across the internet. Crockett's comeback was so sharp, so precisely delivered, that even some Republicans later admitted privately that Mace had walked straight into a trap she never saw coming. Before we reveal what unfolded in that hearing, drop a comment with your city or country. And don't forget to subscribe, because what you're about to watch is a masterclass in political composure and precision. The antagonist, Nancy Mace, 47, is a Republican Congresswoman representing South Carolina's 1st District. The daughter of a military family, she became the first woman to graduate from the Citadel's Corps of Cadets in 1999, a milestone that made her a symbol of perseverance and barrier breaking. She has since built her political identity around toughness, candor, and her readiness to confront opponents. Mace presents herself as a moderate Republican capable of bipartisan work. But in recent years, especially after aligning more closely with the MAGA movement, she has earned a reputation for her biting remarks and willingness to spar publicly. Active on social media and skilled at producing viral moments, Mace rarely backs down from confrontation. On this particular day, she arrived at the hearing confident and prepared. Her remarks were rehearsed, her media team alert, and she was certain she could score quick political points. She saw Jasmine Crockett as an easy opponent, a first-term Democrat who, in Mace's view, favored style over substance. Jasmine Crockett, 43, is a civil rights attorney turned Congresswoman representing Texas's 30th District. A graduate of Rhodes College and the University of Houston Law Center, she spent years in the courtroom before entering Congress in 2023, defending the marginalized and taking on powerful adversaries. Crockett is both intellectually sharp and emotionally controlled. She reads the room well, manages her composure, and builds her arguments with precision. Her experience as a trial lawyer taught her that winning isn't about shouting, it's about being the most prepared and the most perceptive. She represents a new wave of Black women in Congress, leaders like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, and Ilhan Omar, who refuse to be sidelined or silenced. They're outspoken, social media savvy, and unafraid to call out hypocrisy when they see it. The setting, a House Oversight Committee hearing. The hearing's official purpose was to discuss government accountability and spending oversight, but as is often the case in modern Congress, it quickly shifted into political theater. Rather than focusing on policy, members seemed more interested in scoring points for their supporters, creating viral sound bites, and positioning themselves for the next election cycle. The room was packed, staffers, journalists, and cameras everywhere. C-SPAN streamed it live. Every major news outlet had reporters present, while social media teams from both parties monitored the feed, ready to post standout moments within seconds. But this wasn't just about two Congresswomen clashing. It was about respect, representation, and power dynamics. Representative Nancy Mace aimed to publicly undermine Jasmine Crockett, portraying her as inexperienced and unqualified. If that perception stuck, it would reinforce the narrative that young Democratic women, especially women of color, don't belong in leadership. For Jasmine Crockett, this was bigger than personal defense. She stood for every young woman, every person of color, and everyone ever dismissed because of their background, age, or appearance. This was her opportunity to prove that preparation and composure outweigh arrogance and condescension, and the American public was watching. Tension filled the room. Even before Crockett spoke, Nancy Mace had the floor to question a witness about government spending, but instead, she turned her time into an attack on her Democratic colleagues, with Crockett clearly in her sights. "You know what's interesting?" Mace began, her tone laced with sarcasm. "We've got members here who spend more time on social media than reading the bills they vote on. Members more focused on their image and followers than doing the real work of Congress." She didn't say Crockett's name, but everyone knew. The camera cut to Jasmine Crockett, who sat calmly, hands folded, expression neutral. She refused to react. Not yet. For some, it's all about performance, chasing the viral clip, the TikTok moment, the Instagram post. But when it comes to the hard work, silence. A few Republicans chuckled. Mace smirked, clearly pleased with herself. But she wasn't finished. During her next round of questioning, Mace went further, this time naming Jasmine Crockett directly. "Representative Crockett," Mace said sharply, "you've been in Congress, what, a year and a half? What exactly have you accomplished besides getting your name in headlines?" Crockett lifted her gaze, calm and composed. She began to respond, but Mace interrupted. "No, seriously," she continued. "From where I sit, it looks like you're all talk and no substance. You show up in your designer outfits and perfect hair, but when it comes to policy work, where are you?" The room froze. Democrats were visibly shocked. Even some Republicans looked uneasy. Criticizing someone's record was one thing, but mocking their appearance and questioning their belonging was another level. Crockett didn't move. Her expression stayed controlled, her focus unwavering. She knew something Mace didn't. The longer Mace spoke, the deeper she buried herself. The committee chair intervened, reminding members to keep comments relevant to the hearing's topic. But it was too late. The confrontation had become the real story. Mace leaned back with a confident grin. She believed she'd won. She'd embarrassed Crockett, questioned her credibility, and created a moment her team could instantly post online. Then it was Jasmine Crockett's turn. The chairman recognized her. She adjusted her microphone, took a slow breath, and began. "Thank you, Mr. Chairman," she said evenly. "I'd like to address Representative Mace's remarks, and because it's important we clarify a few things for the record." Mace rolled her eyes, expecting an emotional reaction or a defensive rant. Instead, what she got was a measured, methodical takedown. "Representative, Mace just questioned my qualifications and my commitment to this role," Crockett said. "So let's go through my record, since some members of this committee clearly haven't done their research." She pulled out a folder, not as a prop, but as evidence. In my years in Congress, I've co-sponsored 47 pieces of legislation. 12 of them focused on criminal justice reform, an issue I know deeply after over a decade as a civil rights attorney. 6 addressed healthcare access in underserved areas, and 8 targeted economic inequality and workforce development. She turned toward Representative Mace. "How many bills have you co-sponsored this session, Representative Mace?" Mace began to answer, but Jasmine continued smoothly. "I'll save you the trouble. The congressional record lists 31, so I'm not sure where you get the idea that I'm not being productive." A quiet stir spread through the room. Democrats straightened in their seats. Even reporters in the back were typing quickly. "But let's talk about substance," Jasmine went on. "You implied that I'm more focused on appearance and social media. First of all, what I wear to work is none of your concern. I'm an adult, I dress professionally, and if my hair or clothes distract you, that sounds like a you issue, not a me issue." A few people tried to hold back laughter. Mace's expression tightened. "As for social media," Jasmine continued, "yes, I use it. Because unlike some in Congress who seem stuck in 1995, I know that effective communication means reaching people where they are. And where they are is online. My district is 62% black and brown. Many of my constituents are young and they won't be watching C-SPAN, but they will see moments from these hearings on Twitter or Instagram. So yes, I make sure my message reaches them. That's not performance, and that's representation." The room fell completely silent. All eyes were now on Jasmine Crockett. Then her tone shifted, sharper, more personal. "What truly troubles me," she said, "is that Representative Mace questioned whether I belong here. She implied that I'm somehow less serious, less capable, or less deserving because of how I look or communicate. Representative Mace, you broke barriers as the first woman to graduate from the Citadel. You've shared how people doubted you, how they said a woman couldn't succeed in a military environment. You proved them wrong, and that's commendable, so I'm honestly confused why you would turn around and do the same thing to another woman that others once did to you." That line landed hard. The smirk disappeared from Mace's face. She looked caught off guard by the comparison. "I'm a black woman in Congress," Jasmine said firmly. "I'm a civil rights attorney. I graduated from law school with honors. I've spent my career fighting for those without a voice, and I'm very good at what I do. So when you dismiss me as all talk, when you mock my appearance, when you suggest I'm only here for viral moments, what you're really saying is that you don't believe I belong here. And that's not only disrespectful to me, but to everyone who voted for me, and to every young black woman watching who dreams of serving in Congress one day." Applause broke out across the room. Democrats rose. Even some journalists nodded in agreement. Nancy Mace sat frozen, her face now visibly red. But Jasmine Crockett wasn't finished. Not yet. The decisive moment, Jasmine Crockett paused briefly, allowing her last statement to settle in before delivering the line that would dominate headlines for days. "Representative Mace," she began evenly, "since you've raised the issue of substance over performance, let's review your record." She opened another folder. Nancy Mace's posture stiffened. "In January of this year," Jasmine continued, "you posted on social media about your commitment to lowering prescription drug prices for seniors, saying it was one of your top priorities. That sounds good, except when the Inflation Reduction Act came up, the very bill that would have actually reduced those costs. You voted against it." She looked straight at Mace. "So, were you misleading your constituents then, or are you misleading them now?" The room fell silent. Even the chair appeared taken aback by her directness. "In March," Jasmine went on, "you tweeted about supporting veterans and ensuring they have access to health care. Admirable sentiment. Yet you voted against the PACI Act expansion, legislation designed to provide care to veterans exposed to toxic burn pits. So again, which version of Nancy Mace should people believe? The one on Twitter or the one in the voting booth?" Mace tried to respond. Those bills contained—" But Jasmine raised her hand. "I'm not finished, Representative. You questioned my substance. Now I'm questioning yours." Her tone remained steady, confident, precise, attorney-like. "In April, you spoke publicly about defending women's rights and opposing discrimination. Yet, you voted against the Equal Rights Amendment, against pay equity measures, and against protections for women seeking reproductive health care. Forgive me if I'm unclear on exactly which women you're defending." Each point landed with measured force. Mace's staff scrambled on their phones, likely preparing damage control. "You accused me of being all talk," Jasmine said. "But Representative Mace, your social media image and your voting record contradict each other so much that it's hard to know what you truly believe. You post moderate-sounding messages online, then vote with the far right of your party over 90% of the time. If anyone here is performing, it's you." Democrats tried to restrain smiles. This was more than a sharp comeback. It was a methodical, evidence-based dismantling. Then Jasmine shifted tone slightly, her voice calm but firm. "Look, I didn't come here to trade personal insults. I came to do my job. But when you question my right to be here, when you dismiss me based on my age, my appearance, or anything other than my record, I will respond, not with name-calling, but with facts." She gestured around the room. "Everyone in this chamber took an oath to serve the American people, not to serve our egos and not to chase viral moments, though that seems to interest you more. We are here to legislate, to represent, and to improve this country." Her eyes met Mace's. "I don't need to tear you down to build myself up. My record speaks for itself. But if you ever come at me again questioning my qualifications or my commitment, I'll remind you, and everyone watching, that I have receipts. I'm an attorney. Presenting receipts is literally what I do." Jasmine sat back, composed. "Mr. Chairman," she said, "can we return to the actual topic of this hearing? Some of us came here to work, not to pick fights." The room erupted. Democrats applauded. Even staffers in the back joined in. The chairman had to call for order repeatedly. Mace remained silent, jaw tight, face red. She had expected to humiliate Jasmine Crockett. Instead, she had been dismantled, her statements fact-checked in real time and exposed for inconsistency. All within 5 minutes, cameras captured everything. The clip spread instantly. Within minutes, Jasmine C. Crockett was trending on Twitter. Within an hour, the video had millions of views. Mace had tried to mock her opponent. But Jasmine's sharp, fact-driven rebuttal not only ended the debate, it threatened to undermine Mace's credibility for a long time. Even before the hearing concluded, social media lit up. Someone, perhaps a staffer or a quick-thinking viewer, had already posted the clip. Within 30 minutes, Jasmine C. Crockett was the #1 trending topic in the U.S. The tag "Crockett destroys Mace" followed closely. By the end of the day, the video surpassed 15 million views across platforms. Progressive voice. Nancy Mace thought she'd have an easy day. Instead, she got dismantled by Jasmine Crockett. This is what happens when you underestimate a prepared opponent. Political Junkie 2024. Just watch Jasmine Crockett take apart Nancy Mace with pure facts. Never challenge a lawyer if you're not ready. Voting matters. Jasmine Crockett said, "I'm an attorney. Bringing receipts is what I do." And then she proved it, point by point. Voting record and debate at Real Talk Aid. Nancy Mace criticized Jasmine Crockett's appearance and credentials. Crockett countered by methodically reviewing Mace's career, highlighting the difference between substance and showmanship. Even some conservative voices admitted what had occurred. One commentator said, "I'm a Republican." But Jasmine Crockett came prepared. Nancy Mace walked into that one. It served as a reminder. Questioning another's record is risky if your own doesn't withstand scrutiny. The meme reaction is usual with viral political moments. The internet reacted instantly. Within hours, screenshots and video clips of the exchange were transformed into memes. A photo of Crockett holding folders read, "When you're a lawyer and someone comes unprepared." A side-by-side of Mace smirking at first, embarrassed later, was captioned, "How it started versus how it's going." A still of Crockett declaring, "I have receipts," bore the text. "Never bring emotions to a facts fight." Another read, "Underestimate me. I dare you." These spread rapidly across Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitter. Younger audiences, in particular, connected with Crockett's calm, intelligent handling of the exchange, seeing her as a model for dealing with hostility effectively. Media coverage, major outlets soon picked up the story. By evening, it was headline news. CNN, Texas Democrat. Jasmine Crockett goes viral after clash with South Carolina Republican Nancy Mace. Analysts called Crockett's response a masterclass in preparation. MSNBC, freshman Congresswoman. Shows how to respond to personal attacks with facts and dignity. Joy. Reid described it as the most effective rebuttal in congressional history. Fox News covered it with restrained language. Heated exchange between representatives. Mace and Crockett highlights partisan tensions in Congress. The Washington Post published how Jasmine Crockett won through preparation, praising her fact-based strategy and criticizing Mace for personal remarks. The New York Times wrote, "In an era of political theater, substance still matters." Crockett's detailed response contrasted sharply with Mace's personal criticism. Nancy Mace's damage control. Mace attempted to recover online, tweeting, "I'll always call out hypocrisy. Democrats talk about helping families but vote for policies that hurt them. That's what today was about." But public reaction was overwhelmingly negative. "That's not what happened. You attacked her personally," and she countered with facts. "Don't rewrite history. We saw it live." She later appeared on a conservative podcast claiming, "The media loves making Republicans look bad." But even the host questioned her. "Nancy, you did question her qualifications and appearance. Did you think she wouldn't respond?" Mace stumbled through a defense about tough love, but it was evident she was struggling to regain ground. "I came to Congress to serve my constituents and do the work. I won't be bullied, dismissed, or underestimated, and I'll always have receipts." Back to work. The tweet earned over 500,000 likes and was shared widely. On The Breakfast Club, she laughed, "I'm a trial lawyer. I've faced tougher judges before my morning coffee." Did Nancy Mace really think she could shake me with a few remarks? This wasn't about winning. It was about showing that young people and black women in Congress deserve equal respect. We earned our seats. We're not going anywhere. Impact on political discourse. The exchange soon became a teaching example in communication courses. Professors contrasted Crockett's focus on policy and voting records with Mace's personal approach. One Georgetown professor explained, "Personal attacks fail when your opponent is prepared with facts." Campaign strategists also took note. Democrats advised candidates to follow the Crockett model. Stay calm, Use facts and respond with reason. Republicans warned against the Mace mistake. Never attack appearance or legitimacy unless your own record is beyond reproach. Impact on Nancy Mace's career. The incident had lasting consequences. Mace's seat remained safe, but her reputation took a blow. Once viewed as a potential moderate leader, she was now seen as unprepared and impulsive. Even fellow Republicans expressed frustration privately. You can't claim to be the party of substance and then get caught making personal attacks. Moderates distanced themselves, and although her social media following grew, it did so mostly from curiosity. People watched to see if she would misstep again. Impact on Jasmine Crockett's career. For Crockett, the moment was transformative. Within weeks, her fundraising surged by over $2 million, more than the previous 6 months combined. Donations arrived with notes like, "Thank you for standing up. You inspire my daughter." Invitations poured in from universities, women's conferences, and national media outlets. Inside Congress, her stature rose sharply. Colleagues admired her ability to defend herself without hostility. One senator said, "She's strong without being cruel. That's real leadership." Committee chairs began involving her in complex legislation, recognizing her composure under pressure. Lessons for American politics. The confrontation symbolized deeper truths about political life today. Preparation outshines performance. Mace sought a viral moment. Crockett came with facts. In modern politics, evidence beats theatrics. Personal attacks backfire. Insults about appearance or legitimacy only weaken the attacker, especially against a fact-driven response. In an era of spin, simply stating verifiable truths remains powerful. Crockett wasn't just defending herself, she stood for every young professional or woman of color ever dismissed or underestimated. The internet never forgets. Every remark is recorded, shared, and analyzed. Crockett understood this. Mace did not. Where things stand now. Months later, the exchange still surfaces in discussions. Analysts refer to heated debates as another Mace Crockett moment. Crockett continues to use her platform effectively, mentoring young women and championing her district's issues. Mace, meanwhile, avoids revisiting the topic, but the viral clip continues to resurface under her posts. The two haven't interacted since and serve on different committees. There's been no reconciliation, just two paths moving in opposite directions. What do you think about this political showdown? Share your thoughts in the comments. Was Nancy Mace out of line, or was Jasmine Crockett's response fair? If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more detailed analyses of major political moments. Like this video if you believe Jasmine Crockett handled herself with professionalism, and share it with anyone who values factual, respectful discourse. Check out our playlist for more congressional highlights. AOC versus Ted Cruz, Marjorie Taylor Greene versus Jamie Raskin, and Katie Porter's iconic whiteboard sessions. And here's the takeaway. Whether it's a workplace debate or a public forum, remember Crockett's lesson: stay calm, have your facts ready, focus on substance, not insults. Stand firm with confidence and preparation. There will always be people who try to tear others down. The best response isn't anger, it's composure, intelligence, and preparation. So the next time someone questions your worth, channel your inner Jasmine Crockett. Stay poised, bring the facts, and remind them why you belong. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications so you never miss our next political analysis.